Hey there, my name is Cole Adams, and you are watching the best college basketball podcast out there that covers the entire sport of college basketball, brackets, bubbles, and bid stealers. Now, here are your hosts, Sam Fetterman and Jonathan Lidskin.
Season 6, episode 65 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. I am Sam Fetterman. That is Jonathan Lidskin. Jonathan, what a wild night of college basketball.
Where to even begin?
Yeah, we haven't potted since Friday, and we're going to try to be better about this now that we're into the season. We're going to try and do our mid-major Thursday shows. There's going to be one this week. We're going to try and do our Tuesday shows or a Monday show or a Wednesday show, depending on what the biggest night of the week is. We have two correspondents hopefully coming on tonight. Tyler Cronin will be one of them. Still waiting to make sure 100% certain that we'll get the other. But we must begin in Louisville, Jonathan, where the Cardinals were blasting Duke, and then Duke blasted Louisville in the second half. Third straight time that Duke has beaten Louisville with John Shire under Pat Kelsey with just a monster second half.
3-0. 3-0, Shire against Kelsey. I did not hear any rumor about the ACC Coach of the Year award being exchanged after the game, but in my opinion, it should have been. Anyway, this was a just monster second half for Duke. I think it was, where was this? 0.788 points per possession in the second half for Louisville. Like, the defensive adjustment, Louisville had no answer to the defensive adjustments that Duke made in the locker room. They come out and Dame Sarr's pressuring Ryan Conwell full court. Malik Brown is hard hedging and blitzing ball screens to force him to give it up. And, Isaac McNeely was getting face guarded. They couldn't get him a shot. And with no Michael Brown, nobody else could make a play for them.
Yes,
they had no other legit scorers on the floor. And yes, Michael, you did win Bubble of the Year. It was a unanimous vote.
I think that as a whole, like when you can just go out there and that your best player is going to get you 25 and 8, 20 on this game, 27 and 8, just on a given night, and he's going to do it efficiently. It sets a pretty high bar pretty high floor for anything. But man, this Duke defense in the first half and the second half, I felt like I was watching two completely different basketball teams.
Dude, we were going to have a completely different, because we haven't talked since we didn't really talk about the Georgia Tech game.
No.
Right? On Friday.
And,
so
we didn't have time. Like we just didn't.
Yeah, so we didn't really talk about the last two games where Duke
three
had struggled mightily. And like if the second half had gone the way the game was trending going into the locker room, like we're sitting here having a conversation about Duke doing some soul searching. And now all of a sudden, it kind of seems like the season's saved almost.
Yeah, I mean 14-1, you've got the wins over Kansas, Arkansas, Texas, Florida.
Yeah, the resume is outstanding.
Louisville. It is a 1-seed level resume. It's just that there happens to be a couple of teams with no losses. Another chance at a resume win, it potentially can, depending on how good SMU turns out to be on Saturday. And then the Western trip with Cal and Stanford, but
not easy.
Yeah. So again, no idea if Duke is going to kind of come out of that Western trip with two convincing wins, with two wins, with a loss. Louisville went there and lost. We didn't really have a ton of time to talk about it. I don't think we talked about it at all because it was on Friday. But Louisville is now 11-4. It's down to 15th in KenPom. It has been higher than that for most of the season. It still has to go to Duke. still has to play at North Carolina, at Clemson, at Miami, later in at SMU, later in ACC play. It has big wins. It has the Indiana win. It has the Kentucky win. Those are going to age well metrically, even if Kentucky and Indiana might not be good teams, or as good as we thought they are, or the metrics think they are. Those will age well metrically for the most part. But this feels like a missed opportunity for Louisville. You get kind of a reeling Duke team, defensively at least, coming into your house, juiced up crowd. I think they had a blackout. Was it a blackout?
Not quite sure.
Because there were a lot of people wearing black. And they had all the momentum in the first half. Jonathan, I know Mikel Brown Jr. hasn't been performing particularly well in terms of his shooting percentages. But I do think that the fact that they just didn't have that playmaking presence in the backcourt to steady the ship in the second half when they needed to get something going. The guy that can just come in, get a ball screen and find a man. Come in, get a ball screen, maybe not touch paint, but get inside the arc, get to work, blow past a guy and create an advantage. It really hurt the Louisville offense, and we're starting to see that now. I think it's 2-3 in the 5 games that Mikel Brown hasn't played. Yes, they and the wins are Cal and Montana. The losses are now Tennessee, Duke, and Stanford. Even though Mikel Brown's effective field goal percentage is 46.2 on the season, it's pretty clear after watching this game in particular, and the last couple of games, just how much they kind of need that. And I didn't expect to be saying this about Louisville. I didn't think that they wouldn't be able to survive a guard injury, or because I thought that room was so deep, and I like Woolley as a guy that can touch paint, and I like Conwell so much as a shooter, and McNeely, and what Hadley does. But Brown is the guy that kind of takes so much. He takes so much attention for how good he is as a playmaker, in addition to what we know he can do shooting the ball. He's a terrific outside shooter, even though the numbers aren't there this year. You do have to worry about him. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at here. I really think Mikel Brown Jr. probably shouldn't play on Saturday against Boston College. Or if he does, it should be no more than 15 minutes. Because because they are going to need him for Virginia, and I don't think they could risk anything.
Yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head with your first point there. Putting it simply, Duke put Louisville in a position to where they had to make plays tonight, and Louisville didn't have a playmaker. As good as Ryan Conwell is, he's not a guy that's going to set other guys up for good shots. Mikel Brown is.
All right, so we're going to take you guys on a little bit of a detour. We're going to head over to Dayton, Ohio, and the A10. Tyler Cronin, welcome
to the other.
To our Brackets, Bubbles, and Bit Steelers, our A10/Dayton correspondent tonight. Tyler, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you gentlemen tonight?
Oh my God, I am exhilarated. That was an unbelievable night of college basketball.
I have Ali Khalifa thoughts, by the way.
Okay, go ahead.
If we want to transition in,
I would actually love to hear them because I've fought the Ali Khalifa battle for a long time.
I like him. There's just
the last 2 games have really kind of set it home that their main problem without Brown is that McNeely and Hadley and basically most of their big men and at certain times Woolley cannot create anything for anyone else. And so if you're going to shut down Conwell, you basically have to play Khalifa. And then you watch the second half tonight where he is so bad on defense. And I think any of the 3 of us are probably faster at moving our feet in the paint than he is. But I don't know what Louisville does right now because you kind of have to play Khalifa to actually have a competent non-Conwell offense for more than 3 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, his passing obviously provides a pretty big boost and fits really well with what they want to do offensively. Defense has never been a strong suit of his, and especially tonight where like Frew picks up his fourth foul like fairly early in the half, like, and you have to put him back in there. It was just not a huge recipe for success.
Yeah, and again, as I said, like I thought Louisville would be one of the teams that would be able to survive a guard injury. Turns out it's the wrong guard that got hurt.
I feel like they could even survive a Conwell injury better than Brown, even though Conwell's a better player right now.
If the shot comes around for Brown, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so GW Dayton 79, GW 72. Javon Bennett was awesome for the Flyers with 20 points. He had some big plays in this one. Dayton was playing without Amel Latang, and they still held Rafael Castro, one of the best big men in the A10, to 8 points and 4 turnovers. Tyler, what was Jacob Connor and this Dayton front court able to do that shut down Rafael Castro?
Well, it was a combination of what Dayton was able to do and what George Washington refused to do. So Jayon Simon was fantastic. And you mentioned that Latong was out. They were also missing Malcolm Thomas. So they basically had no real centers on this team available today. Honestly, if Jayon Simon was going to play this well against a type of player like Rafael Castro, they were better off with him out there for 30 minutes than they would have been with Latong, because he is able to actually battle Castro physically. And he's not even half as skilled as Latong is, but he's almost a tougher matchup for Castro once the ball is in his hands. But what Dayton did was just make George Washington super uncomfortable at the prospect of getting the ball into Castro's hands. The unrelenting pressure just really forcing GW's guards to have to make super quick decisions all game long. And then even when they settled into the half court, running all of these kind of unpredictable random double teams when Castro had the ball, really doing things to cut off the passing lanes, they forced GW to make a decision. Did they want to force feed Castro against the mismatches or keep running their normal offense? And GW chose to just keep running their normal offense. And so, honestly, I'd say Castro touched the ball 50% as much as I expected him to in this game. Dayton just kept it away from him from the tip.
Yeah, just a couple numbers that jump out at me. The free throws, GW 12 for 20, Dayton 27 for 30. And then turnovers for GW. They turned it over 22 times, only 9 assists on 25 field goals. And that's what Dayton does. They are fourth in the country.
That's what GW's offense does, too.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of your Gene Aaron Gurin is my point guard situation. I mean, he did not play well in this game. They had to pull him, and Trey Dinkins was awesome. Trey Dinkins kind of gave them a huge lift, hit some huge shots. By the way, that's multiple former MAC guys in GW's backcourt, in Gene and Trey. But Aaron Gurin, as a point guard, it just hasn't worked for them. And I know they got Christian Jones as well, just another guy who turns it over a bunch. Those two, that dynamic together as guards, like it's such a weird one, because I feel like what they do doesn't really work together, but they're both so talented to the point where when it's going right, it can be really good. And GW, to me, I think they're one of the most interesting teams in the country, because they have so much talent, so many great pieces. And I'm like, when it clicks, they can hang with just about anybody. But there are moments where it feels like they're asking guys to do things that maybe they're not best suited to do, or they're putting guys in odd situations, or they're not using their best things, and they play absolutely zero defense. And we get to a point like this game where I thought they were in control for the first half, and then they kind of started to wilt. which is kind of what you're going to do against a Dayton team that can do that to you physically. Throw a couple guys on you with Simon, as you mentioned, and all that these guys can do as a whole. Dayton not missing any free throws doesn't hurt either.
Yeah, I think tonight kind of reminded everyone that you still need a point guard in 2026 in the world of basketball. It doesn't matter if we're playing middle school, college, NBA, whatever. You need a real floor general to succeed. And what GW has is 3 very good combo guards, and Aaron Gurin, Jones, and Dinkins, who can all masquerade as point guards. They can serve as a backup point guard. They can do it for 10 minutes a game. They don't have the guy to really kind of settle everything in. Dayton has that in one of the true old school pure point guards, one of the best in the country at that, in Javon Bennett, who played the worst half of his entire Dayton career in the first half today. 0 for 11. He was actively shooting them out of the game. He was forcing things. It was awful, which we really never see from him. And then in the second half, he comes out, takes a brutally tough 3 to start the half and hit it. And immediately from there, he refound his stroke. His confidence was back. And when Bennett is going and when he can make shots and defenses have to worry about him from the entire 30 feet out from the rim, then it opens up the passing lanes for everyone else for Dayton. And if Bennett doesn't have open passing lanes, their offense just flat out doesn't work.
Yeah, and you guys mentioned this, I think, like on 3 or 4 different 3-bid league pods, about how there were moments in December where it felt like if Deshane Montgomery wasn't, another MAC legend, by the way, wasn't going off, then Dayton didn't have anything for them offensively. And that's not a good proposition. Like, I love Deshane, but I've always thought of him as like as a defense first, athletic off-ball combo guard that like he'll be a good scorer. He's taken a huge scoring leap, I will say. It's been incredible to watch, but I don't like relying on him to be your go-to guy. And I think obviously Bennett, this team's going to live and die with Javon Bennett. He is their leader emotionally, on and off the floor. As you mentioned, just true old school point guard that can get up in your face and play some tough defense on the ball, that can pass, that does a good job protecting the ball, but isn't afraid of a moment to take a shot in any situation. They're going to live and die with him throughout the year. And I think it's huge that he comes through in a big game like this at home, front of a good crowd, and obviously came through big in the Loyola game to get them a win on the road. One of the, I don't know if I would say like best point guard in the A10. There's a bunch of good ones, but easily one of the guys that is up there in that conversation.
I'm running through it real quick. I think it's either him or Terrence Ginyard on Duquesne.
Yeah. I mean, depending on if you want to call Mincy a point guard.
Oh, he's not. Well, Jahari Long's their point guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mincy's like a combo backup point guard.
Yeah, he's like a combo point.
So, yeah.
Like, I think Mincy could be a point guard.
Yeah, he's just not for this Mason team right now. He probably will be next year.
Yeah.
But
it's a good thought.
I will toss in a fun stat from this game. First time Jordan Durkak has made multiple 3-pointers in a game this season.
Interesting. Never was like his game, though.
Yeah, he's only taken 3 or more 4 times. But they were both at times where the offense was playing like garbage, and they kind of needed them at the moment they happened.
Yeah, all right. Let's move on within the A10, because, oh boy, do we have a fun one on January 7th, tomorrow, at the Siegel Center, the place that, aside from the UD Arena, provides the best consistent atmosphere in the A10. 7 o'clock, national TV, CBS Sports Network. It's St. Louis against VCU. Josh Schertz against Phil Martelli Jr. These are the two best teams in the A10. This is VCU at 11-4. This is St. Louis chasing an at-large bid at 13-1. This is their best chance to get a resume win for the rest of the year. What are you keeping an eye on, Tyler, in this one?
So I will note this is the most significant A10 regular season game since 2022. That's where the league has been the last couple of years. Last game of the regular season, you have Davidson going for an outright A10 title on the road against a Dayton team that was still kind of scraping for an at-large bid. That's the most significant game post-COVID for the league. I think this slots in possibly ahead of that already. But yeah, I am looking for, above all else, what happens along the arc when St. Louis has the ball in this game. VCU's ultimate superpower, they outshoot all of their opponents from three because they simply just take way more of them. Taking 9 more attempts per game than their opponents throughout the year. And it helps to make up for the fact that they have an eminently average to slightly below average 3-point defense. They just don't give up that many attempts. St. Louis is trying to outshoot St. Louis is just trying to score from anywhere. They'll take whatever's open, but they have one of the funnest stats in the country right now, that they're taking 3.5 more attempts per game from three than their opponents, but making 4.1 more threes per game than their opponents. They are one of the best shooting teams in the country. I want to see if these athletes on VCU's defense are able to adjust to this just incredible battle of intelligence that they're going to get in with the Josh Schertz-Billikens crew.
I mean, I also want to say, like, with this St. Louis team, like, they're a good, like, if you just kind of typecast them as, oh, they're just they're fast-paced, math ball oriented, take a lot of threes, make a lot of threes, mid-major, like, you're going to miss the point with this team. Like, this team has some dudes, some athletes on the wings, Amari McCautry, Kellen Thames, Paul Otieno, and as kind of your second big, or next to Avila in certain situations. It's not just kind of a bunch of guys that can really shoot. It's a bunch of guys that can really shoot, and then a bunch of guys that can really guard, and a bunch of guys that can do a lot of different things. This is a super deep team, and that's not something we've ever seen Josh Schertz really have. That Indiana State team 2 years ago basically had 5 guys and Xavier Bledson every once in a while. And last year's St. Louis team kept getting injured, and they were dead last in the country in bench minutes. This year's St. Louis team is super deep, and I don't think you can kind of wear them down the way you could have done physically with the St. Louis team last year, because I think that this team has what it takes physically to wear you down. Now, maybe not wear down VCU. VCU is physically as prepared for this type of game as anybody in this league. It's a deep team as well. They've got a ton of athletes. That's kind of their identity that they want to build off of. They are a really athletic team. They want to play fast. But I think that's the kind of thing that your analysis. I love your analysis. I just wanted to add on to it with that kind of note on the Bills.
Yeah, I mean, for anyone who's listening right now who has not gotten to watch St. Louis this year, first of all, they're an absolute pleasure to watch. This game is going to be incredibly fun, even if it were meaningless. But this is like watching a team play with Ivy League level intelligence and attention to detail with legitimate power conference level athletes all over the floor. I mean, you mentioned the depth. Kellen Thames is playing 17 minutes a game. Now, part of that is health. He had some horrible leg cramping issues that cost him the second half of last season. He is one of the best defenders in the country. He is unquestionably St. Louis's best defensive player. And I look at the box score and see his minutes count, and it seems fine, because then you'd be taking minutes off of guys like Quentin Jones or Brady Dunlap or Ishan Sharma. And this St. Louis team, it really feels like every one of those top 9 guys could play 10 extra minutes per game, and it wouldn't be overworking them.
Jonathan?
Yeah, Sam, I think you said something really interesting that like St. Louis and Indiana State, when Schertz was there, they're not just like this Alabama variant that wants to get up as many threes as they can because the more they take, three's worth more than 2, so we want to get up more threes than you. No, I think like the point with St. Louis in the Schertz system is spacing and getting the most efficient shot that you can each possession. Like Tyler mentioned, the attention to detail. That's really what it's all about with St. Louis. They want to make you as uncomfortable as you can and make you take the least efficient shot, and they're going to get the best look that they can every single possession.
They are the best in the country at 2-point attempt distance, the new Ken Pom stat.
Yeah.
They take closer 2s to the rim than any other team in college basketball.
Yeah. And something you'll often see is like they will pass up good shots to get better ones.
Because they know they can get a better one.
Something that is really, really not pointed out a lot in basketball anymore.
Yeah. What else do we have to add on this one?
From just a fun standpoint and also maybe super critical to the game, I mentioned Thames. When he comes off the bench, VCU's leading scorer, Terrence Hill, is going to be coming off the bench about the same time. I assume those two will be guarding each other. That is going to be fantastic to watch. And VCU really kind of needs Hill's burst. They need that offensive push that he always seems to give them around the 12-minute mark of the first half, because they're just not getting super consistent scoring from the starting perimeter group. Those are a lot of guys that they have out there for the defense of Brandon Jennings, for the versatility of Jadrian Tracy. Nick Lewis is out there basically just to distribute. Hill's the guy who comes in and just really kind of F's things up in a good way for the VCU offense, puts the ball in the hoop. Thames is going to be the toughest guy that he faces all year, save for maybe one of the Vanderbilt players.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see VCU's defense tomorrow, just because like their entire identity is based off running you off the line and sort of funneling you into that paint, where their rim defense is quite good. But I wonder if that is going to work against a St. Louis team that just moves the ball so well.
All right, Tyler, I'll let you get to bed now. Thank you so much for joining us. Everybody should listen to the 3-Bid League podcast. It's terrific. Really good breakdowns of everything A10. So thank you for coming on, Tyler.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. If anyone's listening, you watch that VCU St. Louis game and you want to hear more after, we will be back Friday morning. We're going to break that thing down. So I'll get one last plug in. You guys enjoy the rest of your late night show.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Tyler. All right, Jonathan, let's kind of whip around some of the less notable but still interesting results of the night and the week thus far. We've got DePaul 56, Georgetown 50. The last time we were here, I said something about Ed Cooley.
Did you see the Seth Davis tweet that's surfacing right now from
No.
like a month ago?
No, what was it?
It's going to be a long winter for the Ed Cooley can't coach crowd.
Oh. It's going to be a long winter for any children sitting within 30 feet of Ed Cooley.
Not for the reasons we usually use that sentence.
No.
So Georgetown makes one field goal in the second half. One.
By the way, like, can I like kind of nerd out about something in this game?
Okay.
Brandon Macklin like rocks.
Okay.
Like,
Elaborate.
I knew basically nothing about this dude a week ago, and then I watched him when I saw DePaul play Villanova, and I was like what, like whoa, like this guy rocks. Transfer from Radford, like was not really on my radar. Was starting for DePaul, but not like putting up any big numbers or anything. Moves to the bench, misses a couple games, and then these last 2 games now, he had 13 and 11 tonight, 13 and 5 against Xavier, 2 wins in a row for the Blue Demons. NJ Benson had 16 rebounds, and DePaul leads the country, Jonathan, in alley-oops.
Did you tweet that the other day, or did somebody else? I saw that.
It wasn't me.
Okay. I saw somebody tweet it. Listen, this is obviously, DePaul over Georgetown is a significant result in itself, but I think like DePaul's improved from year 1 of Holtman to year 2 to this point.
Yeah, I mean, we have to figure out how much of an improvement this is. Like, is it
They have 2 conference wins.
Like,
They had
is it a year 1 Matt McMahon to year 2 Matt McMahon improvement?
Yeah.
Or is it like something tangible that you can actually build off of? We'll have to see.
Right. I just cannot fathom 1 of 23 from the field in the second half.
No, it's awful.
I mean, did they give DePaul weapons?
It's awful. Georgetown is 9-6, 1-3 in the Big East. The only win is Jonathan at Marquette, who is somehow
worse,
somehow even more of a dumpster fire. Marquette is 5-10, and it plays Xavier at home. By the way, Marquette is projected to go 5-15 in the Big East, Jonathan.
Georgetown's projected to go 6-14. So, like, do we know what the buyout situation is here?
No, and we won't because
Georgetown's a private school, right? So there's no way of knowing that.
Every Big East school except UConn.
Yeah, so that's tough because I mean this experiment has gone.
I mean, if it was a 5-year contract, then you'll have 2 years to buy out. And theoretically, he's making what, $6 million a year, right? I think that was the report.
Probably around there, yeah.
So 12 for him plus whatever for the staff.
They don't have to worry about football, so that feels semi-reasonable.
You're probably looking at $15 million to buy out a coach, and then
you got to pay money to hire a new one.
Yeah. So it's a lot, but if this continues,
I will say that, like,
and it's not just the basketball on the court is bad. Then the message and the kind of the direction of like the way that the headlines have gone for this team, the way that it kind of the vibe around the Georgetown program, just it's so bad. It's dreary. It feels like you're still in the Ewing years, even like they're not that bad, but it just feels like there's no buzz. The crowd doesn't care. Like nobody goes to these games. What they looked like they were good early in the year, and then they went to Orlando and lost that game in overtime to Dayton. And lost
still in the Ewing years. Ewing had 2 years that were way better than anything Cooley's had.
Yeah,
this is worse.
Yeah, it's not wrong. All right, let's move on and let's talk about one of the games of the night. Parker Ainsworth from Locked On Cougs is here with us. Welcome back to our Houston correspondent. The Cougs got a big win at home, 69-65 over Texas Tech.
Yeah, Kingston Flemings can play basketball, huh? He's pretty fun. Yeah, no, so I don't know the national. Like he was very much between Tech and Houston in his recruiting process, and I'm glad after that one he chose Houston. He I think was nervous to start. He missed his first 5 or 7 shots or something out the gate, but he finished with 23 and had a 3 with about 2:15 left, a midi with about minute 45 left, and another 3 with about 30 seconds left that were just all dagger. It was like every time. I mean, the first 3 of that bunch took the lead for Houston, and then every time Tech thought they had something, he came back with it. It was impressive. Y'all cover the whole country, so you may feel differently. The kid's incredible. I can't think of a different kid I'd rather have a point guard right now. He's incredible.
I mean, not at Houston. Like, there's nobody that I would rather have be the Houston point guard than Kingston Flemings.
Yeah, I guess that's like you could have others like archetypes or whatever. Yeah.
His defense is just also perfect for what they want to do.
Yeah, it was interesting. The whole night, Houston. I think Kelvin Sampson always does this, where he's like, "All right, one of your guys is not like the way Belichick does in football, where it's like, okay, this receiver is not going to get catch tonight, right?" Kelvin Sampson very much says, "Well, you're not going to beat us with this tonight. Whatever, it's an action, a player, or whatever." And Houston made Christian Anderson a pass first guy. He had 7 assists, but just 7 points. JT Topham played great. I thought Jalen Petty played great for them too. And really, Houston just kind of physically beat up Christian Anderson a little bit. They ran him off the 3-point line, but also had a big body in the lane, so he couldn't necessarily get into the layup kind of stuff. And really, Kingston played a big role in that, but so did Emmanuel, so did Milo. So they kind of rotated bodies. And Christian Anderson played 40 minutes and looked a lot less fresh at the end of it, I thought. Crazy night of basketball, though. I mean, Houston's just one of the crazy games it looked like tonight. I didn't see all of it, obviously, but pretty wild night across the board.
Yeah, and I also think just the resilience that both of these teams showed. This was a war. This was a fight. It was. Yeah, I don't want to say it was a slugfest. Yeah, it wasn't a slugfest. It was hand-to-hand combat. It was an actual war. Between these people.
Yeah,
and it just felt like it didn't even feel like attrition either. It just felt like Kingston Flemings was just delivering blows and blows and blows late, and I was so impressed. Like, no team led by more than 7.
Well, and even that 7, I would point out, was in the final 2 seconds after free throws. Like, it was really never more than a 2-possession game. Crazy night.
So I had this game on the main screen while I know Sam's kind of lagging out here. I'm gonna take him out and make him
because
rejoin. So I had this game on the main screen. Obviously, there's a lot going on tonight. Kansas, Auburn, all that. But it was interesting to me. I thought that like Tech for most of the game handled the blitz defense pretty well, but you could see them kind of wearing down in like real time. Like they started turning it over more towards the end of the game. They had a couple really careless possessions where they just like Christian Anderson lost the ball on one, another they just threw it away.
He just lost it dribbling, and I don't mean to. He is a pro. I don't mean this in a way that's diminutive or anything. It was like an elementary school kid couldn't dribble a basketball kind of turnover. It was shocking. He just looked tired.
No, and it's just that's what Houston does. Even if you can solve their defense initially, like eventually it's just going to wear you down. They just make you process things and work so hard to score every single time down the floor.
Yeah, and I think that's a Sampson staple. I also feel like ultimately Tech is a very good offensive team. I think much like Houston learned from this game a year ago, and because Houston lost this game a year ago, right? They lost to Tech in Fertitta Center. It was the only home loss last season.
Yeah.
And
they're only lost in conference play.
Only lost in conference play last season too, yeah. And they, I think learned a lot from that, got a lot better. In this instance, I bet Tech is a whole lot better at the end of the month when they play each other up in Lubbock, right? I feel pretty confident in that. But on the whole, I think those body blows wore them down. I also think that they'll probably figure out some way to get Christian Anderson off the ball. It feels like he has the ball in his hands all possession, every possession, and that. As a Houston guy, James Harden couldn't do that and win a whole bunch of important games either, right? So it's hard to see.
Yeah, Kingston Flemings, in his 15-game college career, he has been the Ken Pom MVP, Jonathan, 11 times.
Yeah. I mean, dude's ridiculously legit. Like, as a defender, as a shot maker, as a creator, like, I mean, if you are not picking Darren Peterson to be your franchise point guard in this upcoming draft, you are picking Kingston Flemings to be your franchise point guard.
Yeah, definitely. Like, would take him over Acuff. Would take him over whatever French dude is going to spawn in.
He just, like, there's some guys that play with, like, this, like, total, like, F you to them, where, like, you can't stop me, like, you can't get past me, and, like, Kingston has, like, that to him.
Yeah, like, look, I know Houston's 11th in Ken Pom right now, but Isaac Trotter's been talking about this for a while. Is there a backcourt that you think is going to be a better backcourt when we get to March?
If Uzan gets going, not a chance.
Well,
and, like,
and
I don't even feel like Uzan's been bad. Like, he's not shooting it well.
No, he just set a really high standard for himself last year.
I think impact is still there.
I would point out that I think Uzan probably won them since Cincinnati's always been a tough matchup for Houston. I don't know what it is, but since they were in the American, Uzan probably won that game for Houston last year.
No, awesome.
Or last week, I mean. And he is a leader in a lot of ways. I think his defense is kind of under because it's just not flashy. It's just, chest in front of the ball kind of stuff. But really, I think the deal with Houston is that, like, they've got 3 guards and any 2 of them give you 20, right? Like that's hard to stop come March. I do wish Tugler Sinak won. Sinak had a double-double tonight, and I thought he played pretty well. He had flashes against, like, Auburn and even Arkansas. Like, he can score the basketball. It just not very consistent right now. And he's just played 15 games like Kingston has. Like, it could be a whole lot different in a month. But that's, I think, the next step for this team is going to be, can they overcome that?
And I need them to, just for the love of God, get me like a more reliable bench.
Neither, I don't know if you have the box score in front of you, neither bench tonight was any good.
Well, we know that about Texas Tech.
Texas Tech, we know, is not deep.
We've called that their ceiling limiter all year. But, like, for Houston, like, I kind of thought that, like, by now we would be, like, obviously Harwell kind of went down with an injury in this one, but he's been playing a couple more minutes than what he usually played. Than what he played tonight. Like, McCarty hasn't been giving them a ton of minutes. Mercy Miller hasn't been giving them a ton of minutes. Khalifa Sacco is, like, I mean, he's out. He goes out there. Like,
well, and I thought in some of those bigger non-conference games, Khalifa Sacco looked pretty good. And then he got hurt, and he really hasn't been the same, I don't think.
No, I loved him at Utah State, and I thought he was awesome last year at Sam Houston State. So I wasn't surprised about, like, him being, like, I was surprised that he's, like, that Houston took him. Like, I thought that, all right, there's something here, and he had some moments, but I just feel like today, I didn't feel him do anything positive, and I just didn't feel much positive from the bench. The bench took 2 field goals, had 3 rebounds, and had 7 fouls.
It's mostly funny to me because Houston won, but I don't know if you saw the Mercy Miller minute. Mercy can score. Mercy's a very good scorer.
Yeah. He's the most skilled guy Houston has on their bench, in my opinion.
Yeah, he came in, though, and made, like, defensive mistake on 2 consecutive possessions and was out at the next whistle. It was instant. Sampson was like, "We're not risking this because you can't guard."
Yeah, no. If you don't defend, you will not play for this team. It's just,
Yeah,
it's as simple as that.
and he's a good scorer, and they had no bench scoring. It would have helped on that end, and it was like, no, I don't care how easy you get a bucket. We're not doing that.
And like, look, as much as I want to like put Houston in the national championship contender tier because I trust Kelvin Sampson and I think this backcourt's unbelievable, I do think there's a reason this team is 11th in KenPom right now and not like 4th like they were at this point last year or throughout the year. Like, again, this team could get there, but at the end of the day, this is Kelvin Sampson's worst offensive rebounding team in 8 years. It is the worst defensive team they've had since 2022 in terms of their.
That's a very relative thing, though.
Their rank. No, it's just this Houston team is not quite as elite at the Houston things. They're still awesome at them. They're just not quite as elite at them. And I think part of that is because they don't really have a bench full of guys that can do the Houston things right now.
I still think that they're going to get there. Like,
and again, I never said they weren't. I just think that right now, like, there is a reason why they're 11th in KenPom on January 7th.
Sure.
Well, and the other thing that's very not Houston that I think is very obvious, and listen, Kingston Fleming's won them the game tonight in a bunch of ways, but Sampson's never started 2 freshmen. He really has only started one time, and that was when it was Jarris freaking Walker, right?
Yeah.
Like he's not like, you got to kind of learn how to guard for a while, and he's run these guys out there because they're so talented. But the freshman thing will be interesting because, like you mentioned, Sam, they're going to be better come March or February certainly than they are now because they've only played 15 games. Like, that's not very long.
Yeah. Kind of get the Texas Tech angle of this. They almost pulled out another kind of not quite miracle win at Houston. Last year kind of felt like a miracle win with Toppin and McCaslin ejected, but they almost pulled out another one. They're playing, I think, much better basketball than they were really coming out of the first half of that Duke game. I feel so much better about them than I did at that moment. But I still think that there are a lot of question marks to be had with Texas Tech, and it's the hey on a night where it's not both Anderson and Toppin, like they can get guardable fast.
Jalen Petty coming on the way he has in the last three games has ignited a spark for them.
Absolutely.
Brian has not been as good as we thought he was going to be, Sam.
That is an understatement. Tyree Bryan has been unplayable for them at moments this year.
Atwell is like a knockdown shooter, but like that's really all he's going to do is shoot. And so like you need another perimeter scoring threat, and Petty being as good as he has been in the last 3 games has really helped them.
And they really need Bamboy back, just like to get another body in there.
Yeah.
Well, and they're going to get bigger with that. I had a listener in question during our post-game show at Locked On Cougs, and I thought it was kind of funny, but did the Watts kid like lose the game for Tech? I felt like he was so much better in other games I'd watched them play. I guess he's the first guy out of the starting lineup when another big shows up, right? But
no, I don't. I think they start him and they play a big lineup.
Well, he felt like he was outclassed a little bit tonight.
This was not a good game for him. One of my favorite players in the country in the last couple of years when he was at Eastern Washington and then Washington State. has had his moments at Texas Tech so far. But aside from the Illinois game, in Texas Tech's other 3 losses, 0 points in 13 minutes, no shot attempts against Purdue, 8 points on 3 of 10 from the field against Arkansas, 5 points on 1 for 9 from the field today against Houston. That's not going to cut it.
Yeah, I just felt like he was very out of rhythm
He's
tonight.
like, great player. You're getting paid too much to do that in big games.
Yeah. He looked out of sorts tonight, out of rhythm, and like Houston will do that to you. Because like it's weird. He's 6'6", so like he's not really a guy like if you're gonna throw it to the short roller, which like Texas Tech is trying to do, and a lot of teams try to do that against the Houston defense. Like he's not a guy that like is a natural fit in the dunker spot. So like, where are you putting him then? Because he's your second biggest guy on the floor.
Yeah, he's such a unique type of like 3-4 man, because like you want him in the high post handling the ball, kind of backing down your threes, or kind of trying to be like a point forward with your 4s, but you don't want him kind of like in amongst the trees all that much.
Yeah, he was their addition to replace Darian Williams, and like we would have said the same thing about Darian Williams last year. That like you don't want him like as this guy like catching the ball in the post like when bigger guys are already there.
Yeah,
like,
but last year when Houston Tech played, I know obviously my angle's a little different on this, but when Houston Tech played and JT Toppin got tossed, Darian Williams was electric. Like he was important.
Like last year's Darian was clearly better than this year's Luan Watts.
And it's the same role, I think, but I'd much rather have the kid that beat Houston last year in that matchup, but because that was without Toppin, he was the big guy, he was the 4.
He got tossed 4 minutes into the game.
Yeah, he kicked someone else in the nuts again tonight. You don't see that?
I did not see that.
I didn't. I'll have to watch that.
He like it wasn't. Frankly, he shouldn't have gotten tossed last year. They were both basketball plays. I'm not that guy, but it was another deal where he got double teamed and jumped up to throw it, and he kind of got Ramon Walker below the belt, and everyone was like, "Whoa, what's going on there?"
Look out! No, there, much better.
Yeah, I'm reading through Twitter right now. People are saying that he did this.
I know. I'm not making it up. I don't think either one was intentional, and I don't think he should have gotten tossed a year ago. It was funny that it happened again. Wild.
All right, Houston's next game is at Baylor on Saturday. You get James Najee, the biggest story in college basketball.
Dude, Tugler might punk him if he gets in the game.
I don't know what to make of Baylor. I think Scott Drew's a really good coach, but I'm still figuring them out. Yesufu's fun, right? That's fun.
The problem with Baylor is that neither of their like stud wings are like playmakers enough to the point where they need to play like a true point with them, or like another guard with them, like an Ogbeam or a Williams. Just go to like a big lineup that could mask some of their defensive deficiencies. And they don't have the big for that either, unless Najee turns into that big. But I am not in on Baylor right now. Just don't think they have the defense. Don't think that their offense is optimized I don't think their offense is optimized to a good defensive lineup. So I just don't think they put together a unit that works on both ends, and I think that'll cost them. They'll play Iowa State tomorrow, then Houston. They play Kansas and Texas Tech before January 21st. So,
but that's even a Houston team that's 14-1 right now, right? Like they could lose 4 Big 12 games. It's
Yeah,
a
no,
brutal
but
conference.
Baylor
It's
could be 2-5.
No, but like Houston's a team that very well could end up in the Final Four again, and they may lose 4 conference games in the and get bounced in the second round of the tournament, in the second round of the conference tournament. Just it's a really good conference.
Oh, it absolutely is. But again, Baylor could be 2-5 on January 21st and looking at themselves on the wrong side of the bubble before the month of February.
I mean, they were right there at a point last year, and this doesn't feel much different. Like they have, I think, like talent, no doubt.
I think they'll get. I think they'll get 1 or 2 of those games. I don't think that they go empty.
I mean, they have 3 home opportunities.
Yeah. All right. And then for the Red Raiders, their next game is on Saturday against Colorado. Ooh, don't sleep on Colorado to give the
altitude trips are tough.
Yeah, to give
Houston almost lost there last year.
Yeah,
Houston played a weird game there last year. Yeah, they played a weird game with UCF last year.
Dude, going there is so weird.
And UCF's a weird trip too. And now that they're goodish. I mean, I know they kind of got punked by Oklahoma State today. Speaking of which,
this podcast has been on an ultimate mission not to to try to say nice things about UCF without completely.
I'm sorry. I'm
just not used to this.
I'm sorry. I don't know how Chris Wash is 1-0 against Kansas. It's just not okay to me.
I think that yes, I could talk about UCF a little bit, but I'm not going to go. I don't want to be too negative. They've won a lot of games. I shouldn't be mean to them. I do think it's funny they beat Kansas 2 out of 3 years, though. That's fun.
And then it was sandwiched by a 50-point loss.
Well, did anyone figure out what their point differential is against Kansas since they've joined the Big 12? Because they lost a really close one, I think, in the conference tournament to them too last year.
All right, I'm not looking that up. But Parker, thank you so much for coming on. We've got to get to a bunch of other games from tonight, including the one at Allen Fieldhouse. So thank you.
I've only heard about that one. Obviously, I didn't watch it quite, but I've heard about that was quite a night for Darren Peterson and the Jayhawks. So enjoy that one.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Make sure to check out Locked On Cougs if you need any more Houston content. And let's go to Lawrence, Jonathan. We were so close to a Shahada. We were so close to getting our second Shahada of the season. It probably would have been David.
It's rare to get 2 of those in a year.
Yeah. It probably would have been David Punch joining. Was it solo ball?
Yes.
I think it was solo ball.
Was it ball or Demery?
It was Ryba. It was Ryba.
I don't remember that.
It was Ryba because Tyrus didn't play.
That's got to be the least memorable Shahada since we started doing the pod.
I mean, Shahada.
Well, no, that's why I said least memorable.
It isn't the point of it being called the Shahada that Shahada was such a random player to do it.
Yeah, but now because we've made it that what it is, he's the face of it.
Okay, I don't have a ton to say about this game. I feel like I've said my piece.
I do, dude.
I feel like I've said my piece about Kansas, but when they're playing these non-conference games in whatever random gyms, Vegas or whatever, you forget that when they go back to Allen Fieldhouse in Big 12 play, none of that matters, and they're going to win the dumbest possible basketball game because they have the greatest voodoo magic that side of the Mississippi. It's Kansas Jayhawks and Pittsburgh Steelers above and then a massive gap, and then the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah. I want to talk about the TCU side of this.
Okay, I'm in on that.
I texted you something and I didn't elaborate on it. you probably don't know where I'm going. Jamie Dixon completely mismanaged at the end of the game, which like isn't unusual because people forget how to do things now in Fieldhouse. But unless you are 100% sure that that ball was deflected off Kansas with like 9 seconds to go and you're getting the ball back, you can't challenge that. You just can't. Sam, are you there?
Am I not?
I can't see you. Well, that was strange. I don't want to like elaborate this without Sam on here because I want his opinion on it too. So I guess I'll just like going into overtime. I don't think there was a single person on the planet that thought TCU was winning that game in overtime, even with Darren Peterson on the bench. It's truly okay. Sam is loading back in.
Now?
Yeah, now you're good.
Yeah, I'm getting a Wi-Fi router for this.
You have to. Otherwise, this pod will be back in 2026 summer.
Yeah.
So what I was saying, you can't challenge that unless you're 100% sure you're getting the ball back.
Yeah.
Kansas didn't have a timeout. You challenged it and you let them drop a play, which eventually, they committed a stupid foul and Peterson hits the 3 free throws to tie the game. But you gave them a free timeout and challenged it out of panic when it was clearly off of TCU.
Yeah.
Also, why are you throwing the ball down court? What good is that doing? Just throw up a prayer.
Yeah, no, like I've never understood why so many coaches think that they need to throw the ball all the way down the floor. The most important thing on a possession like that is to get a shot off. Not to get a good shot off. There's 1.7 seconds. Nobody is assuming you're going to make a shot anyway.
You're also not getting a good shot off if you catch it.
Yeah. Because you're not facing the basket.
You're not facing the rim.
Catch the ball moving towards the basket, not moving away from it. Chuck something up from half court or 40 feet or something like that. And from that point, maybe you do something. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. I just think that'll give you a chance.
And almost simultaneously, Auburn hit a half-court shot that just barely was after the buzzer, according to
anything you want to mention on that game? I want to kind of talk about Texas A&M because I have
real quick before we get off of this Kansas TCU game. Do the vibes of like this Kansas season feel like extremely weird to you right now?
You mean the number 1 pick sitting on the bench in overtime of
and
a
like
game
asking out of a game
in a game that he has 34 points in, that he's been the best player on the floor, like, and then Kansas winning regardless? Like,
can they just like make up? Like, it feels like they're like half in with this. Like, just sit them down or play them. Like,
I hate it. Like, Kansas wins against UCF if he's in that game, and then Bill Self goes on and says, "Oh no, like this guy's on a minutes restriction. Like, why did he play 18 minutes in the first half if he's on a minutes restriction?" Bill.
Pregame Empire had like the perfect description to describe this. He said, "Tired. Darren Peterson should just play. Wired. Darren Peterson should play with a minutes restriction, but should be used wisely so he's available late game. Inspired. Darren Peterson should pick the most important possession of each game and play it. If he says that's 12:49 in the first, so be it."
Good.
Like
pregame Empire is an icon, man.
Go all in or all in.
All right,
sit down. Like,
I watched the last 6 minutes of A&M Auburn on a second screen. What the hell was that? Like, just
So this was
I turned this on and it's like, bam, Jakari Lane hitting shots. Bam, Ruben Dominguez hitting shots. Bam, A&M just completely blitzing Auburn for like a 10, 12-minute stretch in this game. Flipped the game entirely.
this was like peak buckyball the entire game.
And then so we are now 2 games into Bucky McMillan being an FCC head coach. We are 72 and 73 possession games. A&M as a team, 73.1 adjusted tempo, 19th in the country, 12-3, 2-0 in the SEC, including a big SEC road win. It's going to be quad 1, most definitely. I mean, Auburn's not going to not be top 75.
Correct.
But we're 2 games into this, and I still have no idea how it's translating. Like, none of what happened in this game feels real.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I mean,
are you gonna go on like a 16-2 and 15-0 run back, like 31-6 run? Are you gonna go on 31-6 runs? Because I think you're gonna get 31-6 runs in games. Now, will it be you? Will it be the other team? Who knows? Can you play
with buckyball? Like, probably, but like that's kind of, you have to live and die with the system.
And look, they're a terrific 3-point shooting team. That's going, like, I think that at some point you're going to have nights where they're not falling.
Right. So I
think Texas A&M has a good chance to make the NCAA tournament, is what I'll say. I don't know if this is working though. Like I don't know. Like, they could make the tournament, and I would still have no idea if this is working. Just like this is.
I think that there's going to come a point in the Bucky McMillan tenure where we realize, like, oh, like, you know, this point is as good as it gets, and it won't be like at the time when it happens. It'll be, you know, a little while after, you know, maybe a year after, maybe 2 years after. And I'm not saying, you know, eventually it's going to bottom out, he's going to lose his job or whatever, but I do think that there's probably a ceiling to this.
And like, I'm just trying to figure out like what this is, like what I'm actually watching. Like, legitimate, like,
it's never like we haven't like seen this at the high major level.
I just don't like. I didn't think Auburn did a bad job in this game. Like, they just kind of got avalanched.
Yeah, shots started falling for A&M.
And to me, like,
gonna happen against team.
I kind of thought that was the wrong. Like, I kind of thought he got it off, and then I kind of saw another replay, and I'm like, maybe he didn't get it off. But can we also say like how wild it was that was Keyshawn Murphy?
Yeah, not a guy I think of as
because like here's the thing.
And he switched it.
Here's the thing with Texas A&M. Like, they came back, they went on the 31-6 run, completely flipped the game, and then they blew it. Like, they blew it.
Bucky said in the post-game interview that, like, you know, this should have been over with at the line.
Yeah. Auburn has gone back to Todd Pettiford coming off the bench these last 2 games, but he's played 32 minutes in both of them. I promise you, Stephen Pearl, the reason why it worked off the bench last year wasn't simply because his name wasn't being called with the starters.
Dude, I don't think that he's coming off the bench because he's, you know, they're trying something. Like, Pearl's been pretty open that they like are disciplining him in some way. Now, do I necessarily agree that like the best way to discipline a kid is like, oh,
here, go play 32 minutes instead of
32 minutes? Like,
he's played more minutes in these last 2 games than he did in the 3 before that.
Yeah, there is something about like having your name called in the starting lineup.
No, like he's gotten worse in basically every measurable category this year.
My question is it really teaching Todd Pettiford a lesson to like not hear, like, is Todd Pettiford really like, oh, I'm not going to make that mistake again because he doesn't hear his name called a couple times in the starting lineup?
I
have no idea what he did, by the way. It's my perspective on it.
Auburn's 9-6. It has the wins over St. John's.
You know what it is?
What?
It's the SpongeBob meme. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime. Okay, time's up.
But these last two losses easily could have been wins, but they were also games that they didn't really have any business being as close as they were. Keyshawn Hall, best intentional free throw misser in the country. 2 games in a row with like a good intentional miss. They didn't get the rebound tonight, but it was a good miss.
I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse here, but can I just say how like obvious it was to like anyone who watched the games last year that like Phylon was going to be better than Pettiford this year?
Obviously. All right. Let's rapid fire.
Debate.
Let's rapid fire. Michigan 74, Penn State 72. Michigan dropped almost 2 full net rating points for winning a Big Ten road game.
If you say the words, I'm leaving the show.
What?
I'll tell you after the show. You're clearly not going to say them.
Text me.
Yeah. No, like conference. I think Christian posted earlier, like the meme, like tap the sign, like any conference road win's a good win. I'm like,
yeah. Penn State's last possession.
Oh no, it's January 7th, and you're not ranked higher in KenPom than last year's Duke team. What will we ever do?
Man, that last Penn State possession was a total disaster.
Oh, dude, I was gonna tweet something and decided against it, but we're an hour and 12 minutes into this pod, so I'll say it now. The tweet was gonna be like, "Oh, Penn State took that one right out of Calipari's playbook."
That's sharp. Anything else you want to add?
I love this Arkansas team, by the way. I know they didn't play tonight, but I just want to point that out after I made fun of Cal.
All right, let's go through some of the other games from tonight. St. John's 84, Butler 70. Any takeaways?
Watched a little. St. John's athleticism was very apparent in the second half.
Wisconsin 80, UCLA 72.
As far as I know, no landmarks were harmed or complained about tonight, so I think we're good there.
Man,
good win for Wisconsin. They needed it.
Man.
Is San Diego State winning?
They have to see the Wisconsin State House in January.
The Dells. Oh, San Diego State's going to get a road win. Let's go.
UCLA 10-5, 2-2 in the Big Ten. They lost both games on the Iowa-Wisconsin trip.
It's a dangerous game to believe in hey, I know these players team.
And Jonathan.
What's uh-oh?
They've got to see Mount Nittany next week.
Oh, no.
They've got to see Mount Nittany. They've got to see Beaver Stadium. They've got to see Austin Mitchell.
I would favor Penn State in that game for what it's worth.
And then, Jonathan. They've got to see the shoe. They've got to see Jake D. Well,
do they have to see anybody? Nobody goes to Ohio State games. It's the worst home court in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
That's a David Campbell take that I stole from him, and he's right.
Florida 92, Georgia 77. I'm glad that Georgia lost. Honestly, I just this Georgia team is. I don't
want to call them a fraud, but they're a fraud.
It's I can't prove it. I can't prove that they're frauds.
They have 0 quad 1 wins.
I just know that they're frauds.
I can prove it. They have 0 quad 1 wins.
Thomas Houck is incredible.
That's according to my quad, by the way. I have no idea if they actually do or not.
Thomas Houck is incredible.
All-American.
Yeah, easily. easily. Where would Florida be without him?
I will say that it helps a little bit when, Georgia's, in my opinion, most impactful player gets tossed after 7 minutes.
Yes,
for
that was really
throwing an
bad.
elbow.
That was a really bad. You cannot be doing that.
Yeah, especially on the road. But hey, for those of us that had Florida minus 9.5 tonight, we were very pleased.
San Diego State gets a win over Nevada.
Just wrapped up.
Yeah.
Good.
Minnesota 70, Iowa 67, Langston Reynolds 22 points. Big win for the Gophers. Their second big win. Good win for me in the league, Jonathan.
Yeah, no definitive proof, Samuel.
Well, now I think this is
Kind of
more definitive proof. Iowa 2-2. Alvaro Figueres was bad.
Yeah, just not
Like,
ready now.
I don't get what happened with him. That was a player that was unbelievable.
Still like this team without him. Like their metrics are still very good.
I don't like this team's ceiling. I
didn't say anything about their ceiling. I said
I'm just saying okay.
I don't think they're going to a Final Four.
I know they're 18th in KenPom, but there's more than 18 teams that I think have a much higher ceiling than
them being 18th in KenPom kind of feels all right to me. I mean,
no, it's just maybe I'd have
they've lost 3 road games. One of them, 2 of them were against top, arguably 10 teams.
Maybe I'd have them closer to 25. I just they're good. Wyoming 98, UNLV 66.
They feel like the anti-Georgia, don't have sort of anti-Georgia.
Litzkin.
What?
We moved on. Wyoming 98.
I wanted to have an Iowa discussion.
66. Leland Walker 28 points. Your boy Naz Meyer had 10 and 8. Wyoming is 11-4, 2-2 in the Mountain West. Sonny Wicks gets a big one tonight. Don't really need to go in depth on that though. I just want to
respectfully, I do not care. Both of those teams are below 100 in KenPom, and neither of them are competing for a conference title.
UMass is 0-4 in the.
Now this I'll talk about
in the MAC. Now these games have been close recently, but UMass has now not won a game in football or men's basketball since joining the MAC in conference play.
Karma.
That was a catastrophic decision for their athletic department.
Yeah.
And
at least they're getting football money, or are they?
This is I don't want to sit here and be Curry Hicks stage and say fire Ryan Bamford, fire whatever.
But fire Ryan Bamford.
But man, this is brutal to watch. UMass,
it's bad with the capital B.
UMass should be a thing. UMass athletics should be a thing, and it's not. And it's not one man's fault. It's a lot of people's fault.
UMass basketball with revenue sharing coming into play would have been a better operation in the A10.
Agreed. Miami, Ohio, 16-0.
16-0. The people, tell your friends.
Moving on to some stuff from tomorrow night.
Oh, I noticed you skipped the game there, Samuel.
What?
I noticed you skipped the game. There was a certain SEC game.
Oh, yeah. And I'm still winning the bet.
So LSU is now 41st in KenPom. They were 24th at one point, weren't they?
Yeah, but they went down to 39 after one game. They've kind of been hovering around 41.
South Carolina, 68th.
Good for them.
Up from 90th before the game.
Tomorrow night, Alabama, Vanderbilt. Oh my God, that's going to be a big one.
I'll take the Tide.
I'll take the Doors.
Ooh. Okay.
All right, Jonathan. Anything else?
We talked St. Louis VCU. SMU Clemson's an interesting one in the ACC. I don't think
Villanova.
I have anything else. Missouri may get decapitated tomorrow night at Kentucky.
I'll be at George Mason Fordham. American Colgate. American Colgate is an interesting one in the Patriot League.
There's some Missouri Valley games tomorrow, but I'm not quite sure.
We've got Gardner
intriguing.
Webb versus High Point at High Point. There is a chance that game isn't within 40.
Oh, we have Northern Iowa Belmont tomorrow. That'll be fun.
Yeah. I will go and also...
Northern Iowa will drag them into the mud.
Some of the stuff we're probably going to be talking about on mid-major Thursday this week. We've got Hofstra at Towson. Towson trying to avoid an 0-4 start.
Yeah, that team has not been great.
In CAA play. Cal Poly and CSUN. Austin P and Florida Gulf Coast. Montana and Idaho. Those are some interesting ones for sure. You've got...
how about Western Kentucky at New Mexico State?
Yeah, the CUSA is really fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Utah Valley.
Dave Smart plays on Thursday. I'm sure we'll check in on that.
Utah Valley got picked off by Abilene Christian on Saturday.
Yeah.
Abilene Christian is 9-6. Utah Valley now 12-4. And from Monday night, just some quick thoughts on some of that from mid-major ball on Monday night. The Ivy League season opened. Columbia got a big win. Princeton.
You were at a chaotic game.
Wild game that I was at. And then there was a really fun one in the Southland between McNeese and Stephen F. Austin. McNeese is still the favorite in that league at this point. Showing that off in that win, knocking Stephen F. Austin from the ranks of the unbeaten in the league. Matt Brower has been doing a tremendous job this year. I posted a tweet the other day. The top KenPom improvements from every first-year coach. Matt Brower was number 1. Kevin Hovde was number 2. So that was really fascinating to look at, Jonathan. Anything else?
Did you mention the game in the Big Sky that I'm excited for on Thursday?
Montana, Idaho?
Yes, sir. Two point guards who are really good playmakers, and Money Williams is always must-see TV.
Oh, yeah. Money Williams is awesome, and Colton Mitchell rocks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you don't know about Colton Mitchell, you will soon.
So if you're coming here on Thursday to watch...
Idaho State, Northern Colorado, too. Idaho State is 8-7, but they're 175 in KenPom. They're in the mix in that conference.
Better
that's
than
a really interesting conference. And Northern Colorado's 0-2, but they're 171 in KenPom. They don't play any defense. But Quinn Denker, it has been one of my favorite players in the country to watch. He scores when he wants.
Yeah. So just a fair warning, if you are coming here Thursday to watch or listen to this pod, there are some Big Ten games on Thursday. We will not be talking about those. If any of them are of significance, those will be discussed at a different time.
No. If something crazy happens, we'll discuss.
We will not. If Oregon, I think Oregon plays Ohio State. If Oregon hits the
only thing that would get me to talk about the Big Ten on that pod would be Northwestern beating Michigan State or Rutgers beating Illinois.
Yeah, KenPom has.
But I won't be watching. I won't be watching either of those games. I'll be watching mid-major basketball. And then no Friday show this week. But we'll be back for Saturday Night Live.
We got some big ones on Friday in the MAC.
Yes, I will be there.
Single A MAC. We also have some big ones in the double A MAC.
Yeah, I will be at Manhattan for Canisius Manhattan. The Griffs are 6-1 at home. Let's get 6-1.
Dude, and you know who their one loss is? The game I guaranteed that they would win.
Oh, you know what else is Friday night? Gottlieb against Ben Howlett.
Oh, that's just going to be all sorts of brain power in that one, isn't it?
That might be game of the year.
So I don't know
unfortunate.
if I'd go that far.
It's unfortunate that IU Indy's bad because I am still watching like at least a couple minutes of every single one of their games.
Yeah, you gotta.
But like, no, this team's like really bad. All right, Jonathan, you want to take us home?
I would love to. If you came to hear about Tyler Self and where he's working, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about Penn State stealing Arkansas's plays, you came to the right place. If you came to hear the latest happenings with Caleb Grill, you came to the right place. This has been Season 6, Episode 65 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Steelers. We'll see you next time.